A warm welcome to you, everyone, wherever you may be watching. This is Politics Today live on China's television. I'm Sean Wakimale in Abuja. Let's begin tonight by following up on the situation of education in Nigeria and as far as the strike action by university lecturers are concerned. Today, it's way over 160 days since university lecturers in federal universities in the country began the strike action, keeping students away from the classrooms. The standoff between the federal government and the university lecturers continue since the lecturers are down to over 165 days now, and the students continue to be idle. President Buhari is giving a 2 weeks ultimatum to the Minister of Education, Mr. Adamu, to ensure that the standoff is resolved. But as things stands right now, Labour Union have threatened that they will begin indefinite strike action should the federal government not meet up with its obligation of meeting the demands of the lecturers. Nigerians are now looking forward to the stakeholders getting their acts together to resolve what has become a national embarrassment. All right, let's get first and foremost into some political stories. First and foremost, it's about what will happen today in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, where for the first time in a long time, we're hearing the governor of River State, Nyesom Wike, speaking about the situation and the state of affairs in the People's Democratic Party, PDP. The governor has reacted to the events that have unfolded in the aftermath of the presidential primary election of the People's Democratic Party. He spoke at the Port Harcourt International Airport in River State shortly after he returned from a foreign trip. Take a listen to Governor Nyesom Wike.
I would act line by line, statements made by Atiku Abubakar himself and his attack dogs. I will do that. Nobody, though if anybody who loves me will not advise me not to react. Because why would you not react? Look at if a presidential candidate who believes he wants to win election, that somebody who contested fiercely with him, I've never raised any issue. I just kept quiet, just minded my business. See how my state can move forward. Every day, his people come up to attack me, to say one thing or the other. That's quite unfair. Also, I should let Nigerians to know at the appropriate time, after the commissioning of the projects we have lined up, to say, look, this is correct, this is not correct. So that prosperity, history will be on our side, that we have been able to keep the recourse straight. And so that nobody should be in doubt whether I'm going to speak on the issue of PDP, on the issue of the primaries, and other related matters. Nobody should be in doubt of that. I'm going to certainly speak. Nigerians will know what happened. Nigerians will know. Those who love this country, Nigerians will know what went behind. And that is to assure you, I want to speak on that. It has nothing to do with whether I like you or not. No, it has nothing to do with PDP, but it has to do with putting the facts straight of this country. It was. So I would urge everybody to be patient, After the commissioning of projects we have lined up, then we'll be able to speak to Nigerians and tell them what happened. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who is involved. I'm not a slave, and I will not be a slave. I'm a free born of this country. I must be able to say how things are. Whether it suits you, it does not suit you, is immaterial.
But I'm not sure that's exactly what Governor Nyesom Wike is planning to say. This looks to me like a preamble. The real meat of what he wants to say we'll be expecting when he said he's going to say it. So, as that was being said in Port Harcourt, in Abuja, the vice presidential candidate of the PDP and the governor of Delta State, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, was visiting his counterpart, and the governor of Benue State, Mr. Sami Otom, and it's all about the reconciliation reconciliation efforts in the PDP. Take a listen to both men and what they said and what they are working on as far as reaching out to Governor Wike and reconciling some leaders of the party.
The PDP were one family. I believe that everything is being done for us to be able to stay together as a family and to go into the battle as one family. I did not listen to the interview by Wike, and I believe that the reconciliation process is still on. Whatever is going on at the moment, at the end, we're still going to go into the battle as one family. And I believe very strongly that Wike is the party man. He's worked very hard for the party. He's a strong PDP man, and I know that he's not going to work for another party. However, whatever issues that ought to be resolved, will just be resolved. You're aware that it's been out for some days, and I believe that in the next few days, a lot of things will happen, and we'll see the family come back together.
It is a big family. We are discussing whatever things are not right, we will seek to correct them. And, I think, like I've said before, Wike needs to be placated. He's a very major stakeholder of our party, and whatever is the thing, we work in ensuring that we have peace and reconciliation.
Well, it's a loaded program tonight. Just stay with me because I'll try as much as possible to put everything together compactly so you can get the meat of the stories that we're following for you tonight. Stay with me because first and foremost, let's check out some of your political roundup stories, and I'll unveil my guest tonight on the program.
Our seventh senator of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Senator Elisha Abbo, has backed the move by his opposition colleagues to impeach President Muhammadu Buhari over the security challenges confronting the nation. Senator Elisha Abbo, who represented Amawa North Senatorial District in the upper chamber of the National Assembly, made his position known in an exclusive interview with Channels Television. He spoke on the sideline of the APC Northern Christian Leaders Summit held in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory.
I suppose the move to impeach the president if he could not perform.
The immediate past Minister of State for Education, Chukwuemeka Nwajuba, and a group, Incorporated Trustees of Rights for All International, have filed an originating summons before Federal High Court in Abuja, seeking an order declaring Nwajuba as the authentic presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress. They also prayed the courts to cancel the vote given to the APC presidential candidate, Bola Tinubu, as well as the flag bearer of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar. Nwajuba, who accused the APC presidential candidate of bribing delegates with dollars, presented 26 issues for determination by the court. He specifically asked the court to determine whether the composition of the delegates contravened Article 11A, 12.1 and 13.1 of the Constitution of the APC. The governor of Adamawa State, Umar Fintiri, has assured citizens of the state that his administration will continue to work towards transforming the state by embarking on developmental projects for the benefit of the people. The governor gave these assurances during an unscheduled visit to one of the suburbs in the outskirts of Yola.
They really need a world-class facility in this area, particularly the road infrastructure.
Ahead of the 2023 general elections, the national leadership of the Labour Party has held a town hall meeting in Kaduna State to sensitize Nigerians on the need to obtain their permanent voters' cards and also mobilize them to vote for the party's presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi. Speaking at the meeting, the national spokesperson of the Third Force Movement, Yunusa Tanko, the Labour Party National Secretary, laments that the present and past administrations have failed woefully to tackle insecurity, poverty, and other socio-economic problems confronting the nation.
Do we have to be remaining in this particular struggle for life? That's where we are.
A former lawmaker representing Rivers Southeast Central District in Rivers State, Magnus Abbey, has joined the Social Democratic Party. The spokesperson to Senator Magnus Abbey, Parry Benson, made this known in a statement today. A senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, is accusing the People's Democratic Party of scheming to frustrate opposition political parties in Rivers State ahead of the 2023 general elections. He alleges that the PDP is seeking to eliminate other political parties in Rivers State from the ballot through the courts to pave way for an unchallenged contest in next year's elections. Falana stated this today while addressing journalists at the Federal High Court complex in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, where the PDP instituted 3 suits seeking to disqualify candidates of Accord, Labour Party and Social Democratic Party.
The sole purpose of the case is an attempt by the PDP to be the sole contested in all elections in Rivers State.
And no fewer than 700 members of the New Nigeria People's Party in Yola South local government of Adamawa State have defected to the Labour Party. At an event in Yola, the state capital, chairman of the 5 wards of NNPP led others to come to the Labour Party. Receiving the Dekampis, the governorship candidate of Labour Party, Umar Mustafa, says the Dekampis have taken the right decision in view of the rising profile of the Labour Party in the state.
We would want these riches to reach every nook and corner, man or child, man or woman, big or small, rich or poor. Everybody must have the feeling of being a Nigerian.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. It's crystal clear that some members and leaders of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, may not be happy with some of the ongoings in their party. Some of these misgivings were revealed today in Abuja at the APC Northern Christian Leaders Summit. Some of them include, those who have spoken, include the former SGF, Babachi Lawal, and a former Speaker of the House of Reps, Yakubu Dogara.
The inability by the APC to distinguish the Nigeria of 1993 from Nigeria of 2022 gave me cause to worry even the more. An indispensable attribute of a leader in crisis is to be able to recognize a departure of events from routine to novel. The inability to spot an inflection point in moments of gripping visceral fear across the nation represents an irredeemable, fatal error of judgment on the part of the presidential candidate. There has never been a time in our history that we are as divided. We are battling terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, ransom, secessionism, all manner of challenges. Consequently, anyone who thinks that events in Nigeria in 2022 are not novel but routine as they were in 1993 is totally incapable of finding solutions to challenges currently ravaging our dear nation.
To govern a country with our kind of diversity, we choose this path to power. This is very divisive and must be rejected by all patriotic Nigerians. Also implied in this ticket is the insinuation that northern Muslims are not willing to vote for a ticket that has a Christian on it and on which they are not represented. It is our belief that northern Muslims would have seen the justice in a Muslim Christian ticket and would have given it their overwhelming support had the party been inclined to do so. Sadly, the party chose to go the divisive line. A corollary to this mindset is that Christians should also not vote for a ticket in which there are no Christians in it.
That's former SGF Babachi Lawa, and earlier was Yakubu Dogara, former Speaker of the House of Representatives. One more stop quickly before we get into what the main business of tonight. Some good news for people of Imo State. Today, the governor of Imo State, Senator Hope Uzodinma, has signed a release certificate for the Standard Shoe Company Limited from the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, in Abuja. The Standard Shoe Company Limited was seized by the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, for reneging on obligations. According to the state government, by a good understanding with the corporation, the state was able to institute a recovery process for the company and have fully paid all obligatory debts to AMCON. Now, what the government of Opus Odema today was saying to AMCON is that this will give them the opportunity to employ more citizens of the state and also reduce crime and criminality in the state. Take a listen to the governor of Imo State.
When we came on board, Standard Shoe industry was one of the industries we identified capable of solving the unemployment problem in Imo State, and through which we can engage our young men and women who are roaming the streets for lack of what to do. And I approached the management of AMCON, who already have taken over the industry, and discussed with them. Why I have to do this thing this way is for the public to understand that AMCON is not only a place that are looking for those who are owing, just to collect their money for whatever it is worth, despite whatever anybody will think. It is not a hostile outfit. It's an outfit that is also interested in the genuine growth and development of the country. And this is what I saw in the course of the negotiation of the certain concessions we requested for.
That's the governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, on the release of a company owned by the state, back to the state from AMCON. Now, let's get talking, everyone. Tonight, our attention is about security. We're concerned about how the security situation can be resolved. Just yesterday evening, it was reported that the military was in a gun duel with, at a checkpoint in Zuma Rock, Mandala, along the Kaduna-Abuja highway. And it's not clear whether there were casualties, although several sources says the incident, which led to a gridlock on the highway, perhaps it led to a death of an officer. The police and military authorities were not speaking yet officially on this matter. But this is the latest attack on a military installation, which comes days after bandits attacked a unit of the Presidential Brigade Guards, killing at least 3 soldiers. Now, of course, some of the incident, which is causing some concerns for residents of Abuja, the nation's capital, especially in the wake of the attack on Kuje Correctional Facility and the threats by these terrorists that they will take on some very prominent Nigerians and plans to attack some parts of the nation's capital. Now, how do we ensure that this does not happen? If these guys are planning the evil, what is the state and the security agencies doing to avert this kind of trouble? There was a meeting by the security chiefs with the president, and afterward they said they are looking at how they can ensure that they revisit the structure of policing and securing the nation. They are promising that some of these will not happen. Today we've seen some kind of rejigging of the top officers in the military. Let's talk about the implication of some of this. I'm being joined by our retired military officer, Group Captain Shehu, who joins us live here in our Abuja studio. Thanks so much indeed for coming tonight. And Honorable Jimmy Benson, a member of the House of Representatives representing Lagos, joins us virtually. And from London, virtually joining us also is Mr. Bulama Bukati. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming tonight. Let's begin the conversation first and foremost from Mr. Bukati. I'd like to get your view because of the orientation of these terrorist elements. It does look like they had a demand before they went to Kuje Correctional Facility. They said they want some of their leaders who are in that facility to be released. They went there by themselves to release these leaders. Now they've said a few things which they are making happen. How much of a worry should their threat be for the security agencies or for Nigerians at large?
Showing the threat is unfortunately huge, and that's because when you look at the data, every section of Nigeria, the security situation is worsening. Beacon Consultancy, which is based in Abuja, has released a report this week in which you would see that 6,698 Nigerians were killed in the first 6 months of this year. That is over 1,116 people every month. That's 37 people every day. And it is not just in Abuja or around Abuja. The situation in the northeast is escalating. Boko Haram has killed more people in the first 6 months of this year than they have done last year. Bandits are killing more people than they are abducting. For example, when you look at the data for the first 3 months of this year, bandits killed around 1,300 people and they abducted 1,000. So they are killing more than they are abducting. And then in the north central, close to Abuja, all the three factions of Boko Haram have now successfully established their cell. And this is a worrying development. And the train attack was launched by Boko Haram. We now know that the Kuje prison attack was launched by Boko Haram. And I can bet you that the two attacks in Abuja yesterday and day before yesterday, or I mean today, early today, both of them were launched by Boko Haram, not bandits. And even in its heydays between 2014 and 2015, Boko Haram has never had a cell, a resident cell in the north central or the north west. They only, I mean, in those days, they were sending bombers from the northeast to detonate bombs in Abuja, in Kano, and other places. But what we see today are all of the three factions of Boko Haram having cells resident in Niger, in Nasarawa, in Zamfara, now close to Abuja. And this is very worrying, and they are getting deadlier. And we know that they have now put Abuja under siege, and Nigeria has got to wake up and do what we need to do to tackle those, to confront these challenges.
Before I bring the conversation around the room, why do you think that these guys have becoming so audacious? They are becoming bold and bolder by the day, to the point that they are threatening the #1 citizen, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. They are threatening some highly placed citizens and governors. And they are also threatening to attack perhaps the most fortified part of the country, the federal capital city.
Sean, there are two parts to this answer as to why they are getting more audacious, more lethal, more sophisticated. The first part of the answer is that they are still able to get all their supplies and to recruit young people. They are able to make a lot of money. We know that reports say from the Abuja-Kaduna train attack alone, they have so far made at least 900 million naira. No business makes 900 million naira in 4 months in Nigeria, but they made at least that amount of money. They are able to bring in their weapons from outside the country, but also take over military weapons and vehicles. They are able to recruit young people and radicalize them to continue fighting. And they are able to use the vast forest that has been mismanaged for years. That's one part of the answer. The second part of the answer is that our response has been woefully ineffective. And that's because there is no leadership in the security framework. There is no strategy. You have the Nigerian military working, in silos from the Nigeria police force. The immigration doesn't work together with the police. The DSS says they are gathering intel and report, but nobody is acting on it. And you don't have the kind of leadership the federal government needs to give. And that's why state governors also do things on their own. And unless you have a synergy and coordination, unless you have a coordinated strategy, not only in Nigeria, but also between Nigeria and its neighbors, for example, Niger, Cameroon, Chad, you are not going to get on top of this problem. So it is the fact that they continue to get their supplies, they continue to make money, there are no consequences to crime, but also because we have been ineffective in the use of technology, use of intel, and in the use of our resources to fight them.
Let me go to Honorable Jimmy Benson, who is the chair of the House Reps Committee on Defense. Now, there are a lot of issues that are raised when we have this kind of challenge. Is the issue of funding. Yesterday we were discussing about the excess crude account, and the Minister of Finance has said $1 billion was the last monies that were drawn from that account, and it was basically to fund security. This time around, what excuse do we have for what has become a deteriorating state of security in this country?
Yes, thank you, Sean, for that question. For me, if you throw money at this issue, we may not get the appropriate results. The world is going through atrocious times. Even if you place imports on equipment, getting them here, it's another tough call. If I were the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, I'll be looking at engaging the services of people you call mercenaries or contractors. There's a fierce urgency of now. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes, there's a
go ahead.
fierce urgency of now. The security situation is deteriorating. Our armed forces are stretched. There are operations in 35 out of 36 states in Nigeria. They need support from the police, from the civil defense authorities, which is not as upscale as we expect. So they're stretched thin. Equipments are not as forthcoming or arriving as soon as we envisaged. The exchange rate is also tumbling. So we live in very, very interesting times. So, like I said, if I was the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, I'll be finding ways of getting these contractors, these experts who already have equipment, night goggles, MRAPs, RPGs, technologies that can source out people hidden in the forest. Otherwise, we'll be waiting and waiting for long to get this equipment that have been paid for.
Now, some Nigerians might get upset tonight. And you know why? Because we have heard so many times how much is being budgeted. First and foremost, we heard a few years ago that the monies meant for military hardware were being stolen. Now, we're hearing that we are actually getting to talk with other countries, Turkey, China, the United States, Russia, to get military hardware. We understand that we've gotten the Tucano, the Super Tucano aircraft to fight this war. So when we hear this kind of situation, Nigerians will wonder, we spent money. As the money failed, what exactly is going on? As the money is again being stolen, I mean, where are the Super Tucano aircraft that we were supposed to use and fight in this warfare? What exactly is going on? It looks like a lot of Nigerians are in the dark.
Yeah, the Super Tucano has its work cut out for it. It's to fight in the northeast, right? You cannot use the Super Tucano in Abuja. It has limitations from America, who sold the equipment to us under very, very stringent rules. If you recall, under Obama's administration, no hardware was sold to us. It was Trump that assisted us, and he gave very stringent guidelines. It was specifically to fight in the northeast. But we are making diplomatic efforts, diplomatic work into ensuring that we can use it, we can extend its use to other areas where we are under siege. A lot of these equipment were also bought using LCs, so they're wired straight to the manufacturers. So I doubt if any of it is missing, because the transactions were done on a government-to-government basis. So the issue we have is the issue of delivery, having to get those countries manufacture the equipment with the speed of light. We haven't been able to get that. A lot of excuses, a lot of black swan events have happened. The recent Russia-Ukraine has also slowed down the shipment. Steel is unavailable right now worldwide. So, but like I said, if I were the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, I'll be looking at more practical, pragmatic solutions that is at our very fingertips.
Why do you think, because this is not the first time we are hearing this, Honorable, that we should go for mercenaries? We need help. We need people who can fight this war. Why do you think the government may be shying away from seeking help from professionals or consultants or whoever these people that could help?
Yeah, adding the contractors here now, I'll call a force multiplier. It will, one, encourage and energize our armed forces. Two, the president is a very proud military man. He's fought many battles. So I think he still believes that the armed forces can force their way through and ensure that this war is brought to its logical end. They're trying, but again, the fear mongering, the actions of the non-state actors has really set Nigerians on a scaremongering, and they're all scared of their lives. So I believe those proactive actions will cause some confidence and will bring back more repute into the Nigerian state.
Let me come to Abuja studio with the former military officer. Give us a sense. What is going on this time around?
Well, what is going on is what has been going on. We have security challenges. I always like to look at the global picture of Nigeria. Where are we and where are we coming from and where are we now? It's a story of, there's a magazine called Sadness and Joy. To my mind, joy in the fact that when you look at what is happening in the Northeast over the years, from what it started to now, definitely there are indices, not necessarily from the Nigerian military, from independent objective observers, and even what we hear from radio, there are indices to show that things are becoming calmer in the Northeast in terms of number of attacks that Boko Haram carry, either on civilians or on military, in terms of number of deaths. On the other side, the number of people who are having, surrendering to the security forces, whether they are fighters or children or women, and the families of this. So definitely, in the Northeast, we can see things are looking brighter than the previous years. There's this Nigeria security tracker that is maintained by the Council for Foreign Relations in America, which I always consult, which I would not say is, you cannot call it a biased decision. I don't even look at the military figures. Definitely all the figures they have there, they are going downwards as far as Northeast is concerned. Now, the sour side is that while the Northeast is becoming calmer, we're having incidents spiking in Northwest and North Central. Now, I am happy that Honorable Benson here has spoken what is happening. There's one issue we don't seem to agree on. That is all we don't really appreciate. That is the issue of numbers. Whether we agree or not, we do not have enough numbers when you're looking at Nigerian size, at Nigeria's size of security problem, at Nigeria's population. We do not have the numbers that equate to what we should do. I did a research, on countries that have similar GDPs with Nigeria, countries that have similar territorial size with Nigeria, countries that have similar population in Nigeria. If you compare Nigeria with any of these countries, we'll see that we're on the policed, we're on the military in all these indices. Now, some people will say it is not numbers that you need. It is technology. This is, I think this is not a debate, because you need the two. No matter the level of technology you have, in military operations or in security operations, there is something that technology cannot do for you. Technology cannot hold ground for you. Technology cannot stay in a village and assure the inhabitants that you don't need to run as IDPs, we are here to protect you. There's no technology you put there. So no matter, technology is very important, but this aspect of numbers, and I'm happy the Honorable raised it up. With due respect, what I would have liked to ask him, if the National Assembly knows that the Nigerian security forces lack, numbers, my worry is that why is it for 10 years, for 13 years now that we're doing, there is no massive recruitment to fill in these numbers. The budget passes through the National Assembly. They see the items that are put in there. If what the Honorable told me, if I were in the National Assembly, I would ask for numbers. I would ask for rapid recruitment. We are not recruiting. Now, when you talk also about the equipment, yes, he is right. Equipment is not off the shelf. Sometimes you have to order. But again, with due respect, I'm taking, because my honorable member is there, is somebody that I know, and honest, it's not because he's here. I put him as one of the legislators who really find out. I've had a one-on-one on him. What most of us National Assemblymen, with due respect, they don't even know how the military functions. They don't know, most of them. So if you release money for a certain thing, first of all, you have to make sure that the money is put. Americans have long said that in terms of defense budget, it is not a matter of how big or how large you spend. It is how well you spend it. Now, it's not how big, it's how well.
The Honorable,
yes,
whom you are making reference to, has asked or said that we need help. We need, because we don't have the numbers. Would you subscribe, or do you subscribe to us getting mercenaries, for example, to fight this war?
In discussing this issue, I even like to go away from the word mercenary. We have to move with the times. Mercenary is an older term that we use. What we use now is private security contractors, because when somebody started using mercenaries, you are already giving it a negative connotation. You don't want the debate to go there. I am among the people who is saying that the mercenary option or the PMC option, let me use the proper term, is something we should look at. But with due respect, he has touched on an issue. Our president is a former military general, a war, a war hero, or somebody who has taken part in war. So definitely, not only him, even the soldiers of nowadays, the ones that are in the uniform now, when you bring issues of private military contractors, 9 out of military officers will go against you. The main reason, there may be others, but the main reason is professional pride. If you are bringing PMC, it's like you are saying we cannot do the work. So they will rather plod on, even if it takes 50 years, and see whether it can happen. But I don't want us to look at it.
Can we live on with this
I don't want us to. That's what I'm coming.
And now people keep dying.
We cannot. And again, issues of PMC, even America, that is the biggest military power, there are aspects of their operation that they hire out to PMCs to do for them. Aspects. We may not give them the whole operation. And even when these people come there, when they came during Jonathan's time, it's not as if they were banga everywhere in the country. It was the Nigerian military. They had project officers who tell them today, I want you to go here, tomorrow I want to go there. So we should not look at it as a pride. It's something we should look at. I always liken, the issue of bringing, the military is a very wide thing. There is no military in the world that is good in everything. Until this our problem gets us, Americans used to look for Nigerians for peacekeeping. Because they say if it is peacekeeping, if it is especially where fighting is needed, you need Nigerians. But definitely there are areas now that we don't have. We cannot fight in the night. Our aviation is a bit low. When these people came during Jonathan's time, these people were fighting 24/7. 24/7. In fact, they were getting Boko Haram because they were fatiguing Boko Haram. Because if they pursue them, they are so trained, they don't even wait to cook food or eat. They eat on the road. They follow them day and night. We don't have that. We can outsource some of these things and remove this national. And like I said, even countries that are more advanced than us, they use this. Let's look at it. What happens in present-day social distancing? When Madam Shehu now is having a naming ceremony, women have become wise to find that instead of I have naming ceremony, let me go and buy a pot that can cook for 100 people. Let me go and buy plates. Let me go. What do? They bring a caterer. Because it is a one-day thing. It's not because Mrs. Shawung does not know how to cook, but instead of making these purchases, you bring, that is the way you look at, private military contractors. You look at areas where you are weak, they pull up those areas, and then we continue building, because what is the problem now is that we are trying to build our military, at the same time we are fighting. It's not easy.
For the lawmakers who are asking for the president's impeachment, were they right in their thinking?
They are not.
I mean, were they right in their decision to want to say the leadership is to be blamed?
I would say they are not being honest.
Why?
Yes, because by coming to the camera and say you want the president, you are working out, you want the president to leave, they are showing as if they are completely absolved from blame, and it is only the executive. I'm not blaming it. What I am saying, if there are security successes or failures, both the executive branch and the legislative branch, they must share the blame. Who approves the money? Who looks at the budgets? Who allows extraneous? When you, Honorable Jaha of Borno State, on 1st April 2000, the picture, the clip is there on YouTube. This man came and told us he brought year by year budget of the military. About 80 or 70% is going for overhead expenditure. Who approves that budget? But the executive. And so where are you, a country that is at war, it is spending 80% of its budget on overhead expenditures. A country that's at war is building military universities, is doing construction work, is opening new units. Who approves that? The National Assembly. So they can know what I am saying. Whatever powers the Constitution gives the president as commander-in-chief, it also gives the National Assembly the powers of check and balance.
Let me allow Mr. Bulama Bukati to get back into the conversation. Mr. Bukati, would you kindly react to what the group captain has said?
On the question of numbers, this is an area the group captain and I happen to disagree. Because when you look at the Nigerian security architecture, you would find out that there are 17 security and law enforcement agencies in Nigeria. And when you put their numbers together, you will find out that you have over 1 million personnel in security and law enforcement agencies. And now the number of people we are talking about, Boko Haram, IPOP, and the bandits, are less than 50,000. Why is a military and security and law enforcement and intelligence agency that is backed by the state, that has more equipment, that has more money, and has more numbers, 1 million of them or so, why are they unable to fight less than 50,000 people? Like I told you, there may be need for more numbers for the Nigerian military and the police, but what the major problem now is that we are not making good use of the numbers that we have today. For example, someone would say people like paramilitary, like the immigration, does not add to the number because they don't fight physically and in the battlefield. But if you look at the 3 ingredients of insecurity in Nigeria, drugs, strong motorcycles that are imported from China, and guns, none of them is manufactured in Nigeria. They all come through our borders illegally. If the immigration does its work well, if customs do their work well, you have taken away 70% of the problem. But they don't do their work well. And then you have a police that sees the military as their rival. The second issue is the question of corruption, which the Honorable was trying to dismiss. You can't dismiss the question of corruption from what is happening. The National Security Advisor, the current National Security Advisor, is on record to have said billions of naira voted for security by the Buhari administration have gone missing. Nobody investigated that. The military on the ground have been complaining their welfare is not catered for. Even boots, they buy their own boots with their own salaries. General Adeni, when he was deployed to fight Boko Haram, was on video saying we don't have enough equipment. He was punished for speaking out. And so corruption, mega corruption is going on in the security and defense sector. And unless we flush that out, we are not getting anywhere. People are saying there is no money. Does Boko Haram have more money than us? Do the bandits have more money than us? I can tell you, Sherwin, if you give Boko Haram Nigeria's budget for defense for 2022, they will destroy the whole of Nigeria because they use their money. The Nigerian military, the money is being misappropriated. That's the second issue. The third issue is the question of mercenaries or the private military contractors, as they are now called in a flashy way. I reject the call for their deployment for 3 reasons. Number one, they do not have a record of success. And I will give you one example of one of the most recent examples. The Malian government hired Wagner Group, the Wagner Group, which is a Russian military contractor, about a year ago. And I can tell you, terrorist groups in Mali have never advanced into Mali than like they did in the past 12 months. They last week they attacked the biggest garrison town in Mali was attacked last week, which is just 12 miles from the capital. And that was where the president was. The president of Mali was when the attack was launched. He was weeks away after the attack. Now, the issue is Mali is paying them $10 million every month, and they are not succeeding. They are advancing more and more from the north of Mali to the center and to the south. Now, the second reason is that private military contractors or mercenaries are reputed, they are notorious for human rights abuses. And if you look at every research that is done into why young people join extremist group, you would find out that human rights abuses is one of the reasons. A United Nations report that was published in September 2017 found that 71% of young people who joined Boko Haram after the war started joined because of human rights abuses by government and security forces against them. So if you bring mercenaries, you will push more young Nigerians to Boko Haram. You will push more young Nigerians to bandits because there will be human rights abuses and they would not take that. They would, finally, mercenaries have commercial interests because they get paid money to do what they do. And therefore, insecurity is their shop. Nobody would want to close his shop because they want to serve you. So they would come with their own commercial interests and turn your country into a client state. And that's what we see in Mali. That's what we see in the Central African Republic. That's what we see in Burkina Faso. I can mention African countries without number. That
Mr. Bukati, quickly, because I need to get the final thoughts of the two other gentlemen on the program. The aspect of asking the president to exit the stage in the ultimatum given by the lawmakers. Do you subscribe to that? Just in 30 seconds.
I do. I wish Buhari would understand that he has failed woefully and resign. We know that he would not be impeached because most of the people most of those in the National Assembly are members of his own party. But the truth is he has failed. He has failed in providing leadership. He has failed in holding people accountable. The Kuje prison attack, the attack on the NDA, the shooting down of the military plane by bandits, nobody was held responsible. And for the past 10 years, I cannot give you name of one Boko Haram commander or one bandit commander that was arrested, investigated, and prosecuted. So on the part of the criminals, there are no consequences to their crimes. On the part of the military and the defense ministry, nobody is holding anyone accountable. Shewin, if you did not do your program well for one day, you will be queried by Channels TV. Why is the situation different in Nigeria? Every time there is an attack, Buhari will call the service to a meeting where they will bring in and mark their own homework. This is not how security is done.
And let me allow Honorable Jimmy Benson. You are the chair of the Defense Committee. And so you have a responsibility also, as the President of the Federal Republic has his own responsibility, and perhaps some of your colleagues are questioning that responsibility. Where do we go from here? Who should we be sanctioning? Should Nigerians also be pointing accusing fingers to you and some of your colleagues?
Yes, like I said, we've looked at all the options, and we believe that the security situation is fast deteriorating. We need a stopgap solution now. This is not a time to be pandering to interest or play politics. I think the mercenary option that we spoke about is needed now. There's a first urgency of now. With that, our troops, it's a force multiplier for them. It will make them sit up. It will make them more agile. I do speak to a whole lot of them as well. They also believe that this is necessary. It is not born out of our own idea. It's from having various types of discussions with them, but they dare not voice this out to the commander-in-chief. You understand? So that's why I'm coming on national TV to say this is urgently needed now, and it will allow us to look back, plan a more robust architecture, security architecture for our country. So I believe that's the way to go.
All right. Thank you, Honorable. Your final word, Group Captain. Where do we go from here?
Well,
just in 30 seconds, if you may.
Both, like I said, if there is any failure, both the executive and the legislature, they share it. The executive branch should be more forthcoming in oversighting. They do releases, but do they follow the money? Do they punish for failures? That's why the executive will have to raise its game. For the legislatures, they also approve budgets. They are before their own eyes while the country is at war. I mean, projects that have nothing to do with operational efficiency are being inserted. And with due respect, I will tell them to also check themselves, because we move around. There are even issues of, extorting the military services to collect money from them. It may be there or not there, or telling them to put something on top of the budget. So the issue is that while you will see 20-something, maybe what actually gets trickled down is maybe half that amount. They should check.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Of course, Channels Television is keeping our eyes. Whatever concerns Nigerians, it concerns us. And as a leading media organization in Nigeria, we are the mouthpiece of the people. We are not, we're not resting until these solutions are coming to the table and the lives and property of Nigerians are secured. Many thanks, gentlemen, for coming on the program. And that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye for now.